Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? Today is Monday, April 28th, 2025. I hope everybody had a very nice weekend. All right, let's see. Let's take a quick look and see who's here this morning. Good morning, Joe. How are you? Richie, good morning to you. Mitch, good morning. Jeremy, good morning. Trader Bram, good morning to you. Beth, good morning. I'm doing very well, thank you. A little on the tired side. Didn't really get too much sleep last night. But other than that, doing well. All right, let's see. Let's go take a look at the charts real quickly. For those of you that remember from last week, we were going to talk about the account management software, the risk management. Looks like they were having a maintenance since like overnight, and trying to refresh it, still can't get into the platform. Not really quite sure what's happening. So it says that the maintenance is being performed, but everything else is still working the way, whatever settings you have and so forth. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe send them a message and see what's going on there. I know they were planning on a pretty nice update to roll out. All right, let's go here. So overnight, I actually did not take the trade. I could not wake up because I guess I just kind of tried to sleep through it. When I woke up, it was like 2 a.m. my time, and the trade was already long gone. But kind of a interesting scenario. So if we look at it, here is the 3 o'clock. So at the opening of this next candle, I would be going long, which means I would be going long down here at this candle at 19,505. That's what I would be going long. And the thing about it is it went as high as it, once we got in at, well, it says this candle opened at 505. This is where I was trying to look at this thing and try to figure out exactly where it would have gotten in, and it's very, very difficult for me to figure that out. So if I go by the close of this candle, and by the way, we've got another minute and a half before we take our morning trade here, so let's wait for that. We'll come back. We'll come back to this later. So here we are live. And remember, we're looking for a short.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
And since we're looking, wait, let me make sure I'm connected. Whoops. Give me 1 second. Make sure I am connected to the right account. All right. Let's put on a test order.
Order submitted.
All right, there it is.
Order
Okay, we've got
canceled.
37 seconds. We need price to go below, what is this? 19,523. And it doesn't look like it's going to happen in the next 20 seconds. So we're not going to have a trade this morning to take anything short. We'll just wait just to make sure. Another 13 seconds. And nothing. All right, so no trade for 9 o'clock. So let's go back to analyzing what happened at the overnight. Trying to figure out. It looks to me, I mean, like the trade was a winner, but the problem is I think that the way that this thing actually executed, it would have actually lost. So let's see if I can try to figure this out. Because when I run the analyzer on this thing, it shows that the trade won. And if I look at the actual trade itself, here, let me do this. So right here, this is the trade. So it would have gotten in at 305, and it would have been out at 308 in 10 seconds. All right. Now, the price that it would have got in at is 505, like I said, and it would have gotten out at 518. Okay. So remember that. Entry 505, exit 518. So if we look at it, remember we said this bar closed at 505, so it would have gotten here at 505. So if we draw a line, that's our entry right here. And we would have been out at 18, which is almost the top of this bar right here. So let's see if we can go 18. That's actually hold on. That's the high of this bar. Okay, so the high of this bar would have been the target, and the low of the bar was the entry. And remember, this is an actual engulfing bar. And what do we know about engulfing bars? That once this engulfing bar happened and it closed down here, if the next bar closes down below, we anticipate price to move down for the next couple of bars anyway. Okay, so this next bar closed down, so I'm anticipating for this thing to continue if we can close below the low of this, which is 484 and a quarter, then we would anticipate price to continue to go down. If it doesn't and it goes back into this range, then we expect it to take out the top of this bar. So the next bar did not close below. Okay, so now we have to kind of watch and see how the next bar develops. And since, you know, we're not in real time, we're just going to be kind of looking at it. So again, it closed inside this range, which means we're attempting to go to take the high out of this. And it did just that. So on this chart right here, the high was 17, which is 1 point shy of what it showed on NinjaTrader that price would have hit. So, and you can see that it couldn't close above. So going back again, it couldn't, it tried to take the high out and it wasn't successful. So now it's going to go back and try to make new lows again because it couldn't make new highs. Anyway, make a real long story short, you can see what happened. It actually did take out the low of this, finally closed below and, you know, proceeded to go down. It showed in NinjaTrader that this trade was a winner. This came within 1 tick of profit, at least on this chart on TradingView. So if you're not on top of this thing and you're watching it closely, we would have had to actually look at the 1 minute chart to see what was happening to give us any indication where the price was actually going to break above, or is it going to struggle to break here. We would have had to take out profit early and not at our profit target. So this actually, if you just let the trade run out, would have been a full loser. So, I mean, in one way, I'm kind of glad. Yeah, Monique, I see that your trade was a loser, but you have to kind of manage it. And I just explained this to the reason why by looking at the chart. So once we know, like if we're back here, okay, so we know that this is happening. So we have an engulfing, you know, bar, and we can see that it just, it peaked up here, and then we have, here, let's look at this. So the bar before, we looking at the opens and closes are starting to consolidate, okay? It was making higher highs, closing above, above, above. Here it stopped, okay? And here it tried, but it still closed inside this particular bar's range. So why is there a reason that it failed here? Why couldn't it, you know, close up and make higher highs? When this bar happened, it definitely didn't do it, and it actually closed down, okay? It still peaked out, and it closed down below the previous two bars, okay? So we really got to keep an eye on it, which means that if I was trading this thing live, I probably would not have taken this trade, okay? So because it's looking like it's trying to, you know, make the highs, but it's just not successful. So if it's doing that, then we're obviously looking to try again. We have this broadening formation right here, this engulfing bar. And when I'm saying a broadening formation, I mean like this. And then if we go here, so if we look at these lines, when this bar, and we'll talk more about this actually in the mentor call that we're going to do in the Discord, we're going to talk about this particular setup and what happens and why it happens with the engulfing bars and what kind of ranges it basically maps out. So when this bar printed, I would draw this broadening formation, and then we watch price to either try to stick to these lines, okay, and either break above and make higher ones or break below and make lower ones. So you can see it did that. It's trying to break out and make new highs, and it just failed at this point right here, which means it's going to try to shoot and take out the bottom. Okay, now remember, I just drew this now, So let's just see if price did anything during the overnight to do anything of such a sort. No. So we're trading inside this range. Okay. So if we go here and we look at the 15, there's that broadening formation that I drew. Okay, and you see that on the 15, it's actually sticking to it pretty good. And then here it failed. And then it went back down. So we're trading inside this range. If we draw a line here and draw a line here, we're trading inside this range. So we kind of watch and see where is price, going to continue to go. Right? You can see we're just chopping around right now. So going back to this trade on the overnight, I probably would have not taken this if I was watching this thing live. Because it just, again, it's a breakout trade, and it just couldn't break out. So, Monique, does that kind of make sense? Where even though we get a signal, that doesn't mean we take every single trade, right? We still have to get some kind of confirmation that the market's going to go where we need to go. So when we got into this trade, we would have known that our target was going to be up here. And then we say, ooh, do we want to get into a double top scenario where this thing's going to fail? Or is it going to break out? So we have to be ready for it. And if it looks like it's struggling to make that higher high, then we bail out of the trade. We get out. We take profit early. So we still could have gotten out a winner, maybe not 49 ticks, but maybe 35. If you're like late to get out. So instead of turning it into a full-blown loser, you get out with a partial win, which is still a win. All right. So. All right. So you can see we're chopping around, right? So we're doing all this chopping. So if we draw our lines, let's get rid of this. We can always come back to this later. So if we draw lines on the lows and the highs, which we're making now, and the high is actually this dotted line here. And this dotted line on TradingView is previous, day's close. So this would be where the close was on Friday. And it would help if you guys would. Oh, you do see the screen. I didn't know you saw it or not. So you can see the screen. All right. All right, you guys in the chat, does that make any sense? Or do you want me to kind of go over that again? Just type in a Y or a yes in the chat if you guys understand what I'm talking about. Jeremy, yeah, here, let me put that up here. There, here's the QR code. So you have to kind of, fill out some information on that. Let me get you a direct link if you want to just join straight up, because like I said, it is a paid Discord. So if you're interested in that, let me just drop the link for that. They'll take you straight to the sign up, purchase page. Let me just get that for you real quick. Here, that's the link right there. That should take you to the page where you can sign up and then get yourself paid. And I'll get you set up Yeah, no problem. Okay, so at this point, we're just kind of waiting, right? So you can see that it's trying to make higher highs. So we'll see that when the market opens, if it tries to break out, this is the previous. This is last week's Friday's 15-minute opening range, and you can see we're trading above that. So let me make sure that I'm ready for my 9 o'clock, my 9:30, sorry, trade.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
I'm just getting my trade copiers set up. So give me 1 second.
Order submitted. Order canceled. Order submitted. Order canceled. Order submitted. Order canceled.
All right, hold on a second. I've got a problem here, guys. I'm trying to figure out what is going on here. Okay.
Order submitted. Order canceled. Order submitted. Order canceled. Order submitted.
Okay.
Order
It
canceled.
looks like I've got it finally set up. All right. Good morning, Uria. How are you? Or is it Uria? God, I can never pronounce your name correctly, so I'm so sorry.
Order submitted. Order canceled. Order submitted. Order canceled. Order submitted. Order canceled.
Okay. Now I think I got everything set up. Okay, so we are about just a little over, 10 minutes before the market opens? I've got a couple of other trades that I take throughout the day that I'm going to start. I'm just trying to figure out how to do this because I don't really know. There's so many people streaming, during the New York session that I don't really know how many people are actually going to stick around and watch this here. So I'm just trying to figure out if I should continue streaming talking about these other trades or maybe just kind of do update videos and just keep you guys kind of posted on them. There's another setup that I have that it takes longs only, literally. But it varies at the amount of trades that it takes per day. Because right now, we have basically one trade. Good morning, Miguel. We have one trade that we take we have a specific, this 5-minute breakout trade, okay? So we have it set up where we're taking it at 3 o'clock in the morning for the London session. And then at 9 o'clock in the morning prior to the open. And then at 9:35 during the open. So, and that's kind of basically what we've been doing for the last couple of months, right? We've been just talking about that in here. Now, I've got other stuff that I obviously trade throughout the day. I'm just not streaming or talking about it. But I do want to share it with you guys in case that there's some interest. But it's a little bit different. Again, it's all based on price action. And bouncing off of levels and taking scalps off of it. But it does happen, throughout. I mean, they're very specific. They're time frame based as well. Like it doesn't start looking for a trade until 10 o'clock, and this is all Eastern time. And then it looks for a trade between the 10 and 11 o'clock hour. And then it looks for a trade between lunch, between 12 and 12:30. And then again between 1 and 4. And during those other times, between 11 and 12, it doesn't trade. And between 12:30 and 1, it does not trade. So, and again, this is all based on back testing that I've done and so forth. So to come up with these time frames, and then, it talks about the contract sizing, stop loss, profit targets, things like that. But that basically would mean that I would have to kind of stream the entire day from literally like 9 o'clock till the market closes. And I don't really know if this is something that you guys would be interested in. I don't know. Again, the whole idea was for this is when somebody only has a short amount of time to trade, they want to try to find a winner they can trade, get something that's profitable, get in, get out, and then they can go about their day. This is a little bit different where it kind of, goes for the person that's, has the time to sit and, kind of grind the market, if you would, for a little bit. Although it has been pretty profitable. So I don't know. We'll kind of have to see. We'll get, pulse for what you guys feel. You guys will have to let me know in the chat. Because, obviously I don't want to stream just to myself, right? I don't want to do that. But if there's interest and we can get some interaction with you guys, then for sure, no problem. I wouldn't mind doing that. All right, so while we're mulling that over, we're about 5.5 minutes from the open. Again, we're kind of stuck in this range. We're trying to break out of it, but we'll see what happens when the market opens. If we look at the 15, what's that telling us? Well, we have a high here. This goes back to Friday. And I think that was also a weekly, a weekly high also. Is it? Let's take a look at the daily. No, maybe not. No, it wasn't a weekly high, was it? Was it the 26th? No, it was not. Okay. No, the weekly high was here. Yeah, the weekly high was right here. 589 was the weekly. So all right, so we're targeting here. We did have this gap down. And we've actually closed it. Okay. Filled it, going back up. So we're trading inside this 15-minute range right here. Let's draw some lines here. So we're inside here, and we're literally like right at the 50% portion of it. So we'll see what happens when the market opens, if we're going to break out of here and take off. Because if it is, then this would be a good trade to take long, right? If this thing continues. And the way we do that is by watching the 5, and we're making, higher highs and higher lows. So as long as it keeps doing that, we can anticipate price to continue to move up. So we'll keep an eye on that, because that's something that we want to know. And then we can dive into the smaller time frames to see what's going to be happening. So you see, we have this engulfing bar right here, which engulfed literally like everything for the past, 10 minutes almost. So, and it tried to break out of it, but it couldn't. So what is it doing? It's trying to take out the low. So if it takes out the low and it tries to make new lows, then we're diving back down into the range. So you see how the theory works on any time frame and theoretically in any market. And we use the smaller time frames to see it to trigger the larger ones, or the higher ones, I should say. So we had an engulfing bar on the 5 right here, which we couldn't break out, and now we're trading inside the middle of it. And again, if we go to the 1, we also had an engulfing bar there too 2 minutes ago, and we're trading in the middle of that as well. So this will help us kind of predict what could possibly happen to the 5. Is it going to break out and break out of the high of that 5 and continue to go up, or is it going to go down? So let's watch and see what happens. Is there any news? No, there's no news this morning. Okay, good. All right, we're 2 minutes from the open. And as you can tell, this bar is trying, see, this bar tried to break out and close below, and it wasn't successful. So it's doing that now on this bar. So if this bar closes down, we're going to anticipate price to continue to move downward. And if that happens, what does it look like on the 5? The 5 is creating another engulfing bar to the previous engulfing. So this is a pretty strong bearish move if it closes down below. So we'll see what happens. Okay, that's the 1 minute. I'm just kind of switching back and forth. So here's the 1. What does the 3 look like? Yeah, and the 3 is doing the same thing. It's trying to push, down. So if we look at all the 3 time frames, it looks like it's pushing down. So we've got 30 seconds. This bar is going to close and the market is going to open. So if it closes down here, we anticipate this thing to come shooting straight down, but it is the open, so we don't know what's going to happen. So, I mean, we'll just kind of wait and see. All right, we got 10 seconds till the market opens. All right, so now the market's open. And immediately you can see it just spiked down a little bit. So if we look at the smaller time frames, you see it hasn't quite closed below this bar, right? And now it's putting an engulfing. So we'll see what happens here. So we have an engulfing bar to an engulfing bar to an engulfing bar, and this is all within the last 15 minutes. So you can see they're trying to obviously widen this range. So as of right now, let's take a look at the 15. If we look at this previous, we need it to close above here to continue to go up. Because if it closes down below, then we're basically not going to have a setup, obviously, and this thing's going to be going short on us. So it's a lot of consolidation going on here, a lot of indecision. But it is looking like it's pushing to the downside. So we've got just under 2 minutes left. We need price to basically close above 573.5 for us to take this thing long. And if it doesn't get up there in the next, minute and a half, give or take, then it's not going to happen. Now, remember we drew these lines here? So we were trying to basically break above here. So it tried, but it's going right back into this range now. So this could have been a fake or false breakout, and now it's trying to take out the bottoms here. So the range, it went as high as it could here. Now it's coming back down into the middle of this consolidation zone right here. And now we're shooting for the bottoms here. So we'll see what happens. But at this point right now, we are not going to have a trade. Now, another thing that we can take a look at too is if we throw a Fibonacci on here, well, there's really no reason to do that yet. Let's see if we look at and we've got 30 seconds. We're not going to get a trade this morning, guys. We have 30 seconds till the next bar opens. So, yeah, we're just not going to get a setup today to go long. But if I look at the smaller time frames, yeah, it's not giving me anything. So market's just pushing down. So we got 14 seconds left. And this is a huge, how big is this candle? What is this? 50 points plus the wicks. I don't even know what that is. Let's see. It's almost it's 120 points top to bottom. So anyway, so we did not get a trade set up this morning. Market just didn't want to give it to us. So that's going to be it. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that we should try to make these streams a little bit longer? And we can talk about some of the other trades that I take and setups and things like that. What do you guys think? You guys let me know in the chat. Type a yes or a Y if you want me to try to do these where we're streaming longer. Corey. Hey, good morning, Corey. I didn't know you guys were in here. So good morning to you. Yeah, longer? Okay. Yeah, because if you guys want me to do this, I'm doing this because obviously you guys are interested. And if there's interest, I'll be more than happy to do this. You're incognito. It's all right. It's all good. I can appreciate that. So, all right, we'll play it by ear. We'll try doing this a day or so. I don't know. Maybe we'll do it this week. Later on this week, we'll try one day and see how that works out and see how many people stick around. And if there's interest, then obviously for sure I'll definitely keep doing it. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us. We did not get a setup today, but that's okay. Not a problem. We will come back and try to do this again tomorrow. So thank you very much for joining me, guys. I appreciate it. I know that your time is valuable and you've got so many different things you can do in the morning, and I appreciate you guys spending it here with me. And you're welcome, Corey. And you're welcome, Beth. And we will see you guys all back here tomorrow. And for those of you guys in the Discord, we'll see you guys there in a little bit. All right. If you guys are going to continue trading, trade well. And we will see you guys back here later. Bye now.